Number 3.
But I like that O-line with Detroit that I think can control the clock and keep their secondary, which is a liability, off the field. Now, they got to figure out what to do with Hutchinson's loss. Max Crosby, I mean, the Raiders just gave out Devontae Adams. Do you give away Max Crosby and you get more picks? They have an excellent running back duo, best offensive line, but the schedule gets tough now. 3 of the next 4 games, Vikings, Packers, Texans. There's going to be a couple L's here potentially for the Lions.
Number 2.
Vikings.
Yeah, so I think, okay, so the Lions were 4th last week, and now they jumped to top 3 because obviously the onslaught of the Dallas Cowboys. And I think the Lions officially broke Jerry Jones. I'm sure at this point now, by the time this video posts, you've already seen Jerry Jones's bizarre radio interview and all of that, and just the unraveling of the Cowboys. So round of applause to the Lions for just genuinely breaking the America's team. But yeah, obviously, I think the Lions are an unbelievable team. And like I actually just said in my Ravens video, that I think the Lions and the Ravens have the most reliable and most likely just absolute punch, right? Like those 2 teams, and honestly probably the Lions more than anyone else, have the ability to just pile on points, right? Going up 21, 28 points in the first 10 minutes of the game. They just, as we saw, right? Like it's just, they got that potential to just really pile it on. The thing that I think they need to continue to prove is, can they consistently win those games that are not like that, right? The 21 to 20 type games. Can they consistently win and be a formidable, tough, brutal team when those big, fun trick plays are not in the game plan or just not working, right? Because there's going to be a time when you do a trick play and it just goes through the fingertips of someone, right? Like but it's just guaranteed to happen. And what happens there, right? When you're building your identity so much, and again, their identity is complex, right? Their true identity is the physicality, is the preparedness, the intensity, right? Like Jared Goff said, our coach is our rock and all of that, which I absolutely love to see. So you can see that. But it's obviously undeniable how much the Lions love to pile on these points, have fun, have those moments. And so you want to be able to see them continue to also be able to win these tough games. And when they get these leads, not give it up like they did against the 49ers in the playoffs, right? Like that is a real thing that happened. And you don't want to obviously repeat what happened last season. Like this is the year now to get over it. Because from my viewpoint, and I talked about this in the 49ers video. No, not the 49ers video. I think it was the Packers or Texans video, where I was saying, I think the Lions had that game versus the 49ers in the NFC Championship game. They beat themselves. And I'm not going to, go too far back in time. The only reason why I'm really emphasizing that is because, again, this season is all about proving we evolved, we learned, we grew, we got even bigger, better, stronger, faster, smarter, right? We're not just running it back and going to be the exact same team and hope that we just get a different outcome. It's no. We evolve. We're even better, more ferocious. And that is what they've proven so far. Yeah, these next 4 weeks or so, all right, you have the Texans, the Vikings, and the Packers, and then I think the Titans or whatever. So those will be hard games. Those are going to be the games that we learn a lot. I'll be honest. I don't know how much we learned against Dallas because I don't think Dallas is that good of a team, right? The Saints destroyed them. The Ravens did. I know the Cowboys got back into that game, but the Ravens also pretty much did whatever they wanted, especially offensively. And although I think the Lions definitely did it the best way that I've really seen in a very, very, very long time, and it was just one of the most dominant wins that I've seen I honestly can't even remember as long, but it's still like, I don't think, there's some people that say you learn a lot when you beat a bad team and how badly you beat them. I don't think that that's 100% true always. I think it's really more a matter of how do you play the good teams, or how are you going to play the Vikings? How are you going to play the Texans, the Packers? That's when this really matters. And it's going to be crazy because this is going to continue to be a common theme in a lot of videos moving forward now, is especially with the NFC North, is that it's so tight. And it's just kind of crazy that the margin of error for the NFC North is just really kind of wild, right? It's just you're going to go from either winning the division or like really on the cusp of not even making the playoffs, right? Because of the wild card. And it's got the potential. There's a lot of these 4+ win teams. I mean, you have the Vikings, you have the Lions, you have the Packers, you have the Bears now, you have the Bucks, the Falcons, the Commanders. Like there's a lot to go around right now. And so the margin of error gets smaller, and you want to win that division, and you're fighting also, quite frankly, obviously as well, for the number 1 seed, for home field advantage throughout the entire playoffs. You don't gotta go to San Francisco, you don't gotta go to Lambeau, you don't gotta go to any of these places. You get to be at home. So like these games really matter. And the earlier in the season, I said for a lot of these games, these games don't really matter. You can win them, you can lose them. I'm looking to see you just to see what you look like in these games. But when you're now talking about these divisional games right now, because of what's at stake, because of what you can achieve and lock in the number 1 seed, lock in the division, lock in a bye, lock in home field advantage, all of those things, like these games now honestly really matter more than maybe other divisions, quite honestly, because it's just the stakes are incredibly high right now, incredibly high. And it's going to be interesting to see what the Lions do when they had obviously such a big, massive, emotional win versus the Cowboys, and then now a week later they're now got to play the Vikings, right? Like a tough, gritty divisional game against a really hot team coming off a bye, right? They're all well rested. They've been chilling. They've been able to prepare for this now for a long time. They had their own fun win in London. So it's going to be really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. And then I think they play the Titans next. And then I think it goes Packer-Texans or Texans-Packers, whatever it is. And so, yeah, it's going to be a tough run. And this is where we're really, really, this stretch of games is where we're really, really going to learn who are the Lions? What are they about? What happens when things get a little bit harder? What happens when they don't jump out to a commanding lead, right? What happens when the score is not 28-0 or 28-3 or whatever it is, right? What happens when you're going into the third quarter and it's 14-14, right? And it's a big moment, gotta have it game, let's go. That's what I'm so excited to see what the Lions can do. I'm so excited to see how Jared Goff plays in those moments, what type of plays Ben Johnson dials up. Like I'm really, really excited because they're going to be ready for it. Dan Campbell is going to have this team locked and loaded and ready to go. And Ben Johnson's going to have the plays dialed up. And so it's just going to be fun to watch it kind of unfold. And to be clear, I believe in the Lions when I'm saying I want to see what they do. It's not because I'm skeptical or doubt it. It's just I'm excited to see it and see how it unfolds. And I agree with Colin. You're not going to be perfect. You're not going to just now win these next games and go 4-0. That most likely will not happen. And again, it's like I said, it's not to say that you can't lose to the Packers or the Vikings or the Texans or even the Titans in a bizarre, one of those bad throwaway games that pretty much every single team has every single year. That's not to say, oh, there we go, they haven't grown, they haven't matured, same old, same old. That's not the conclusion either, but it's just going to be like I said, the margin of error, especially considering the Vikings have started off so hot and being undefeated, it just raises the temperature in the room, really, at the end of the day, because there was a very real possibility that the Vikings could be 3-2, right? 2-3, like those are real possibilities that now just make things a lot harder. The Chicago Bears have started to get some momentum. The Packers have maintained their momentum. So it just makes everything a little bit more congested and claustrophobic for the Lions. And so I'm excited to see them kind of battle through it, quite honestly. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Detroit Lions going from 4th to 3rd now after that onslaught versus the Dallas Cowboys? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.